In a major survey of 6 years of data, the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation found that builders aren't filling the gaps when it comes to housing supply in Vancouver and Toronto. The CMHC says that's leading to a surge in prices, partly because of low mortgage rates and population growth. So how can buyers and sellers navigate all this? We're going to ask the agents. Sean Ziegelstein is with Royal LePage in Toronto. Steve Saretsky is with Sutton West Coast Realtor in Vancouver. Steve, I will begin with you. What do you make of this lengthy survey that the CMHC has done?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think as it stands right now, we have record low inventory. But I think if you look at and sort of peel back the numbers, I mean, right now we have almost 40,000 units in Greater Vancouver under construction, which is almost double the long-term average. So I do think that we have been building. The reality of it is a lot of it hasn't hit the market. So that's sort of where we're at right now. But I do think that in most recent years, we have been building quite a bit.
Sean, when you saw that report come out, what did you think of the findings?
I think they're interesting because of the fact that you're looking back from years from 2010 to 2016. So the market has changed quite a bit, and we have seen a lot of supply hit the market in the latter years with new condos in the city and such like that. We are still in low supply, of course, but of course the buyers that are out there right now can't get into any detached homes in the city because the land just doesn't exist for them to move into those.
Steve, those units that you mentioned are under construction. Is that, historically, is that what normally would be built, or is that a bump up?
Oh, it's a huge bump up. I think the long-term average is around 20,000 units. So, like I said, we're at about 40,000 right now. The reality situation here in Vancouver is most of these projects are at least 6 months delayed. Some of them are up to a year delayed, and that's the reality of it is there's simply a lack of trades. We have so much construction that's happening right now is there's just not enough trades to go around. That's speaking with developers firsthand. So, as much as it would be nice to build even more, I mean, the reality is we can't really take on what we're already building. So I do think the supply is certainly going to help in the long term, but in the short term, I have a tough time believing that's going to help with the current situation.
A bit of the picture there in Vancouver. Sean, is that the situation in Toronto? Are we seeing more building happening?
We are seeing more building happening, but at the same time, we are running low in the sense of trades, just like Stephen said that is happening in the BC market right now. It just doesn't exist. We don't have the amount of people to actually get out there, build the product, and therefore then sell the product to the marketplace.
Does that mean, Sean, that it's tough to get builders to actually start building more?
I think so. I think if you had an increased level of trade out there, then you could really, exponentially increase the market, the availability of the product that's out on the marketplace right now. The fact that we've got low trade numbers, it really leads you to believe to the sense that if we don't put those into place, then everything is going to get delayed, and they will be 2, 3, 4 years down the road. It won't be a short-term fix.
Steve, if the supply problem isn't fixed, what does that mean for prices? I mean, in the survey, it found that there was a 48% increase in Vancouver in that same time frame. Is that realistic?
Yeah, I mean, I think that ultimately the supply issue is going to get itself fixed. When you have this many units under construction, I think that's working towards it. I think at the end of the day, too, is we do have, as prices have risen, astronomically over the last couple of years, you have a huge group of really investors or speculators, so it's hard to build when you have people that are buying 2 and 3 units, condo units. So I think trying to build up with that sort of demand, I think at the same time, you have to tackle some of the demand as well as the supply. So I think it's, finding that balance.
Time really flies. We're out of time, but thank you very much. Steve Saretsky in Vancouver, Sean Ziegelstein in Toronto with Royal LePage. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Scott.
guys.